Good afternoon, my dear students. So today here I am with the continuation of the essay or an article that I have been doing for the past 4 to 5 days. That is, everything I need to know, I learned it in the forest. So this is my class number 17, as you can see, and today we will be continuing on the part where we had left in the last class. There was a gap of around 8 to 10 days. I had my own personal reasons as I couldn't upload any of the videos. I was on leave for those days, and today I'm back to the college, and let me continue with what I have been doing so far. So before I could start, I had given you a task to complete and submit it to me. I had shared my number. I had told you that you will have to submit it to me by taking 2 or 3 days. It's more than fortnight. I think it is 15 days or over or something. Except 3 of you, I don't want to take their names, except some 3 of them, none of you have given or sent me or submitted me the assignment. In the course of the article, I have been discussing something about what do you mean by monoculture, isn't it? And that's what Vandana Shiva actually tells. I have been telling you that this is not a story to understand. This is something which is a factual description about what was happening then and how should we take care of the nature. So I repeat once again that take the name of a person which I have already told you, Haji Kalimullah Khan. Find out the details about him and give me a write-up of 1 page about who's this man and how do you think that he has adopted something that is called as monoculture, as Vandana Shiva is actually talking to us through this essay. Everything I need to know, I learned in the forest. Okay, I'll give you this weekend time. Okay, I need everyone to find out the information about this man who is called as the Mango Man of India. Write 1 page and submit it to me on my WhatsApp number by Saturday. Okay. Anyways, hopefully, probably we would be having our live classes from 15th October as per the government is saying right now, but we do not know what may happen, what may not. But you see to it that the moment you watch this video, see to it that you will take the assignment seriously, work on it, write it and submit it to me by this Saturday. Today is Wednesday. You have whatever the time that you have. I want each one of you to find out the information and write and also give importance to what do you mean by monoculture and what's up it to me after your writing. Not for those 3 who have already sent, but for those who have not sent or who are yet to send or something. I don't know what's the problem, but then find out, take out some time and do my assignment and submit it to me. Okay, now let me go back to what I was discussing with you people in the last class, that we were discussing something about what the nature teaches us. So you have to remember, recollect what all the things that we have discussed so far, and where I stopped in the last class was somewhere where man becomes a superior power on nature, isn't it? So I was talking to you something about apartheid and non-apartheid elements in the nature, isn't it? So in a similar way, you will have to see under the heading rights of nature on the global stage or something, where I was talking to you about 2 different countries. One was Ecuador, the other one was Bolivia, isn't it? So these are the 2 countries who have already started out saving the nature. And then we were discussing about one of the South African economists by name Cormac Cullinan, isn't it? Cormac Cullinan, who had said us about apartheid and non-apartheid. What do you mean by separatism? How man thinks himself separate from the nature, because he thinks himself that he is the superior and he has all the power on nature, which is very falsely represented or understood by all of us. Okay, so today we need to overcome the wider and the deeper apartheid and eco-apartheid based on the illusion of separateness of humans nature in our minds and also in our lives. So this is the last line of that particular subheading called Rights of Nature on the Global Stage. Then now we are with another subheading, that is the Dead Earth Worldview. Is already declared as Dead Earth. Now in this section or in this subheading, we are going to see what do you mean by the Dead Earth and how does the world looks at it, or how does the world reviews about a phrase called the Dead Earth. Do you really think the Earth is dead? No, we are making it to die, isn't it? But she is very clearly pointing out about the views, not only from my perspective or not from India. She talks to us about the perspectives of all the world put together. Okay, so look at this. The war against the earth began with this idea of separateness. See, we discussed something about the idea of separatism, isn't it, in the earlier section or in the earlier subheading of it. Now she is continuing with an idea that men or the humanity or the human beings started waging the war against the earth with the idea of this dominance. Separatism is nothing but the idea of dominance. Its contemporary seeds were sown when the living earth was transformed into a dead matter to facilitate the industrial revolution. How did we started making the earths to die? The first thing is that if I have to ask you this question, you will very clearly tell me that write about environmental pollution, or you might have read or you might have written an essay in your earlier classes about a topic called environmental pollution. After environmental pollution, when you came to the next grade or when you were promoted to the next higher class or something, there you heard a term called industrial revolution, isn't it? Now, don't you think that pollution, industrial revolution, and today it is, what is it? Today what do we call it as? Globalization or global warming, isn't it? The global warming. These are all the reasons which man or human beings are doing in order to kill the Mother Earth. Don't you think so? In a similar way, look at this, what she says here. The war seeds were sown when the living earth was transformed into a dead matter to facilitate the industrial revolution. The moment industry started coming out in larger and larger extent in the different parts of the world, it slowly started killing the Mother Earth. Once again, the person one who was gaining here was none other than human being. On the other hand, the person one who was at loss, the person one who was at something that was losing its value was once again the nature or the Mother Earth. Monocultures replaced diversity. Nowadays, monoculture is something that was there, but nowadays what we can see is that monoculture is slowly changing towards diversification. In one piece of land, how many different crops can I grow? Isn't it? So man is now looking at diversity. He wants to change, or he wants to experiment. He wants to experiment the other things that are available. Isn't it? One example that I would like to tell you with the local example is that, like ginger. All of you know that, right? Ginger. Now, how many of you don't you think that being farmers yourself, or you might have seen from your own eyes, the farms that were there for paddy or maybe for rice or maybe for any other purpose, as everything has been demolished or it has been diseased in such a way that the people are back off growing ginger. Don't you think so? You can see these own examples from your various resources that you have, isn't it? So what we see here is that monoculture, only one crop, one field, has now changed into diversity. Raw materials and dead matter replaced a vibrant earth. Raw materials that were used for industrial revolution and dead matter that was used for the monoculture or diversity has now given a a very vague idea for a vibrant earth. Why do you think that it is vibrant? It is almost decaying. That is why it is called as vibrant. Terra nullius, the empty land ready for occupation regardless of the presence of indigenous peoples, replaced terra madre. So there are two examples that she gives here. That is, one is terra nullius. Terra nullius is nothing but which is an empty land ready for occupation regardless of the presence of the indigenous people, has now replaced to terra madre. That is, terra madre is another name for the mother earth. Mother earth is something that is ready for anything that a man does. Getting? Okay. Now, this philosophy, terra nullius and terra madre, this philosophy goes back to the Francis Bacon, the father of essays. Francis Bacon, called the father of the modern science, essays and modern science, who said that the science and the inventions that result do not merely exert a gentle guidance over nature's course, they have a power to conquer and subdue her, to shake her to her foundations. The father of the modern science, Francis Bacon, is also of the same opinion that man is a superior power, or man is an ultimate power who could shake the mother earth regardless of the inventions or the discoveries that he makes. Getting? To tell you in one line about this paragraph, it is man one who can control the mother earth because he can use it the way he likes. Getting? So this philosophy goes back to the Francis Bacon, called the father of the modern science, said that the science and the inventions, as the science is going towards the inventions or the technology is improving, they merely exert, give a push, give a strong touch, that is, exert a gentle guidance over nature's course. They have the power, that is, men or the human beings have the power to conquer, to subdue her. Who is her here? Yeah, it is the nature, or it is the mother earth, to shake her to her foundations. So man is becoming a parthi, or man is becoming dominant. Man is becoming dominant. Then, as philosopher and historian Caroline Merchant points out that this shift of perspective from nature as a living, nurturing mother to inert, dead and manipulable matter was well suited to the activities that would lead to capitalism. What is capitalism? Man went on making money, profit and all everything, and he forgot that the refuge that he is getting was Mother Nature only. When man started becoming so powerful, when man started becoming so violent, okay, he forgot that the very basic need that he wants to have was definitely from the Mother Earth, isn't it? The matter was well suited to the activities that would lead to the capitalism. He is enjoying, he is earning, he is making money, he is making more and more industries. But at the end, who's the man or who's the one who is suffering? It's obviously the nature. The domination images created by Bacon and other leaders of the scientific revolution replaced those of the nurturing earth, removing a cultural constraint on the exploitation of nature. Look at the way how the man kept on doing his own things for the sake of capitalism. Isn't it? Man kept on doing for the sake of his own capitalism, and he says at the end that one does not readily slay a mother, dig into her entrails for gold, or mutilate her body, merchant root. Look at the way how man, in order to gain money or in order to progress towards capitalism, he takes these three examples which are very clearly viable even today, isn't it? That is, one does not readily slay mother, cut, slaughter, cut mother, or digging into the trails in order to find the gold. Example, KGF, Kolar gold mines, isn't it? How man has become dominant, superior on nature, or mutilate, make harm, okay, making wounds, cutting, rather, okay, mutilate her body, merchant wrote. That is, man kept on doing it. And one thing that I would like to tell you here is that this disharmony with nature is not only happening in India. Keep that thing in your mind. Okay. Now, Vandana Shiva tries to tell us that this Mother Earth is being humiliated or is being used for the sake of capitalism of the human beings. It is not only seen in India, but it is seen throughout the world. Industrial revolution, pollution, okay, man going towards capitalism is not only the scene restricted to India. No, it is something that she says that the whole of the world is watching it. That is why, what is the heading of this section? It is given on page number 25, that is the dead. They have already declared it as a dead earth, the world view. Okay, so there are so many. Francis Bacon is there, and then there is one more man who said that Bacon, merchants wrote that man has become so violent, or man has become so, what can I say, the man has become so growth towards capitalism, man has become so very accustomed to become rich, he started making these things. The three things that merchant wrote was that man is now ready to dig the mother earth, he is ready to cut the body parts of the earth, and he is ready to make slaughter the earth only for the sake of capitalism, only for the sake of capitalism. So what you need to understand under this subheading is that it is we who are making the mother earth to die, because man himself is making harm to his own place where he is living in the form of getting income, or slowly he is progressing towards the capitalism. Well and good, but in turn, what is he doing to the nature is something that most of us, or every one of us, need to understand. This is what she says when she says that dead earth is not only from India's view, but it is from the world's view. Okay, then you need to be very specific about those names. I may ask you a question, or there may be a question about who is the father of the modern science. You should be in a position to say it is Francis Bacon. Okay, so you should be asked to say, like, what are those three examples given by the philosopher called Caroline Marchand? You should be in a position. So Caroline Marchand is of the opinion that man has become so dominant on the nature that he is ready to slaughter Mother Earth, he is ready to cut her body parts into different sizes, or he is ready to dig deep into the earth in order to gain the profit or money, so that he can forward, or so that he can move towards the capitalism. Okay, so remember these things so that you will understand about the text what Vandana Shiva wants to tell us about. Okay, then the next heading that she talks to us something about what nature teaches. Okay, so you have a heading, what nature teaches. So in this section, Vandana Shiva is going to discuss about what nature actually teaches us. Look into this. Today, at a time of multiple crises intensified by the globalization, I was telling you global warming. First of all, we started off with pollution, then it came to industrial revolution, then slowly global warming came up, and now we are progressing towards the globalization. Isn't it? The globalization, the term itself tells us that it is not only restricted to any specific country or a respective place, isn't it? It is something that is throughout the world. That's why it is termed as globalization. We need to move away from the paradigm, from the thinking of nature as dead matter. Definitely, we cannot regard nature as a dead matter. isn't it? So we have to change our views, or we have to change our views in such a way that nature is still alive. If nature is not there, how can we be alive? But of course, yes, we are slowly mutilating, or we are slowly decaying the mother towards its death. How we are doing, we know it very well. We need to move to an ecological paradigm. We need to have a proper ecological balance. And for this, the best teacher is nature herself. In order to understand the proper balance in the nature itself teaches us. How does it teach? Let us see. Okay, now, the Earth University teaches Earth democracy, which is the freedom for all species to evolve within the web of life, and freedom and responsibility of humans as members of the Earth family to recognize, protect, and respect the rights of other species. If I have to tell you only one line about these three different lines that Vandana Shiva tells, it is that you live, you also let others live. Getting? So read this again. The Earth University teaches Earth democracy, that is democratic people like India. Okay, so it teaches us the democracy of the Earth, which is the freedom for all species. What happens in a democratic country? You have the rights for everything, isn't it? You have a right to vote, isn't it? In a similar way, the species, that is the different living organisms, species, things, should be always treated with a balance. That is, they should be given enough freedom within the web of their life, and the freedom and the responsibility of the humans as members of the Earth family to recognize, protect, and respect the rights of the other species. Man shouldn't always think himself as a supreme power, isn't it? So there is one more supreme power who is there, isn't it? In the similar way, man should stop considering that he is the mother, or he is the supreme power on nature, isn't it? When nature starts, man is nowhere, isn't it? You can take an example of the earthquakes that happen. You can take the examples of the volcanoes that erupt. You can take the examples of the storms that happen, isn't it? So if nature starts working on its way, then man cannot stop, or man cannot be tired, or the man cannot be even thinking of the anger of the nature if it starts reciprocating to what man does. Hope you understood what I said, right? So man is nowhere in front of the nature there, isn't it? But now nature is there, so man is keep on doing the things which he wants. If nature starts, then you know what happens there, isn't it? Okay, now, according to the Earth University, freedom should be given to all the species. That is what you need to understand. Earth democracy is a shift from the anthropocentrism to ecocentrism. Anthropocentrism, that is man-centered nature, should be given to ecological balance. All the living creatures should be given freedom with respect to their roles and responsibilities. Okay, so anthropocentrism to ecocentrism. And since we all depend on the earth democracy translates into human rights to food and water, to freedom from hunger, and of course from thirst, isn't it? So if you take back, or if you take care of the nature, then the nature is there in order to give you food. The crops that the farmers grow, the vegetables that they grow, isn't it? Based on them only we are eating there, isn't it? So what we need to understand here is that man should definitely shift his idea that he is not the supreme power. Rather, it is the ecology which is the supreme power, and in ecology, you should treat all the species, or the living things, or the living organisms as equal. They have to be treated equal, because it will give you food, it will give you water, it will save you from hunger, it will give you the enough kind of a freedom that one wants. Then, because the Earth University is located at Navadanya, I told you about it, right? So Earth University, who made this, isn't it? So because the Earth University is located at Navadanya, a biodiversity farm school children and people from across the world. Two of our most popular courses are the A to Z of organic farming and agroecology and Gandhi and globalization. You can underline that whole paragraph. Why? Because it is something about what Earth University is recently doing in order to make aware what nature can teach us. Okay, I think those last paragraph is self-explanatory. You can underline that and you can read it to yourself. And today in Earth University, it is not only the farmers who want to take up these courses. It is so many other people around the world who are taking two different courses. One on organic farming and agroecology. The other one is on the Gandhi and the globalization. So you can underline those two courses, and this is something that is being done, that is being taught in Earth University as put by Vandana Shiva. So by saying all this, what Vandana Shiva wants to tell us is that man should not think, or man should never consider that he is the superior power on Earth. He should always consider the fact that if Earth starts reciprocating to what all the evil deeds that the man is doing, that man cannot find his involvement in or on the Earth. So that is why she tells us about how nature can teach us, and she takes the example of her own university that she started, that is the Earth University. So I shall stop here, and I have left out with one last subheading of the lesson, that is everything that I need to know. I learned it in the forest, and I think in that section she is going to talk to us something about Rabindranath Tagore. Okay, so what is it that we will do it in the next class? So far, go on to the two different subheadings that I did today. That is, one is on what the Earth teaches. The second heading that we did today was Dead Earth, the world view. How man has become saying already that the Earth is no more there. So you can take those examples of whomever those two people come there. That is Francis Bacon and Caroline Marchand, isn't it? So these are the two people who talk to us something about how Earth is becoming a dead matter. It is not become, but how is this becoming? So it's a kind of a continuous tense that is going on there. So that is related to the dead Earth, the world view. And the second section, or the second subheading that we discussed today, was on what nature teaches us. So nature teaches us about so many different things that we have discussed. So I'll stop here and I shall continue the last portion, or the last section of the interview or the essay, and hopefully I shall complete it in my next class. So thank you for watching this video, and do remember about the assignment that I have told you, and I give you this weekend time. By Saturday, I want every one of you to make sure that you have written the assignment and that you have sent it to me. Alright?